Hi, my name is Betsy Delphos, and I'm with Dynamic Benchmarking, here today to give you a brief overview of how to use the DMAI Compensation and Benefits Study comparison and results. Access to the Compensation and Benefits Study results is available through the DMAI website. You will either get an email or click on a landing page on the DMAI site. And after logging in, you will come to a landing page that looks like this. Users who have participated in the study and provided 50% or more of the responses to the questions and or purchased access will have a link to click here to see results of the Compensation and Benefits Study. If you don't see this page, just contact DMAI and they'll answer your questions. Once you click on this link, you will be brought to the DMAI study and a welcome message that you're looking at here. When you are here, you're going to be logged into your account. If you participated in the study, you will have access to all of your responses for the comparisons and results. On this landing page here, this welcome message, you can download a user's guide if you have any questions about how to use the site and email DMAI directly. Once you click continue, you are on the main landing page of the study, which is broken out into 3 sections. If you're familiar with this page because you participated, the results are designed exactly the same way. Each section of profile, compensation, and benefits contains the questions and the reports and comparisons for that section. For the purposes of today's demo, we're going to focus on the compensation section, but note that the capability that I'm showing you is available in the profile and the benefits section as well. So I'm going to click the compensation section, and I'm brought to the main page of the compensation section where the questions are separated into the categories and subcategories. If you answered questions and participated in the study, you will see responses and your answer counts for each category of questions. On this tab, the My Organization tab, you can click any of these categories and see how you answered these questions, but the data collection is closed, so you will not be able to modify or answer additional questions. If you see some responses that are not correct, just contact DMAI and they can take care of it for you. So here you can review the responses to your questions, but you'll notice it's grayed out. You cannot make any changes. So we're going to spend the bulk of our time here on our compare by question and the personalized reports area. Each one of the sections of profile, compensation, and benefits has these 3 tabs where you can review your responses, compare by question, or download reports. I'm going to click compare by question, and similar to the data entry page, the questions are organized into the same categories, and you can link and click on any category to see the comparisons for that category. We're going to focus on the executive area today. So if I go to the first option, which is select positions, this listed the positions that you could provide compensation data for in the executive category. And what we're looking at here are the categories of the position options for that category of President, CEO, Executive Director, Chief Operating Officer, Chief Financial Officer. Each of these percentages in front of the answer options shows the percentage of responses for each of those options. So we can see that 100% of the participants selected President, CEO, Executive Director. And on the other end of the scale, 11% selected Executive Vice President, Sales and Marketing. So this is a nice little snapshot view of the percentage of positions that DMOs have in their executive team. So only 11% of DMOs have executive vice presidents, 16% have COOs, 28% have CFOs, etc. Each of our, when we're looking at these question-by-question comparisons, every single comparison has a pop-up chart that you can just click on that little icon, and it provides you with a downloadable to PDF or PowerPoint graphical view of that question. Your responses are always in blue, whether it's numeric or whether it is a multiple choice question like this. For looking at the specific compensation data for each of these positions, we go to the Executive Salary Details tab. On this tab, we have the questions that people responded to for each of the positions. On the top is a drop-down that contains all of the positions for this category and allows you to flick through the positions to see the corresponding compensation data for each one. So for example, the President, CEO, Executive Director, there are a couple of numeric questions, fixed salary for this position, maximum variable cash compensation, total maximum compensation budgeted, etc. These numeric comparisons are presented on a line chart where the number on the left is the 25th percentile, number in the median, 135,000, is the number in the middle is the median, and the number on the right is the 75th percentile, 186,000. Your response, if you provided one, is in blue above the line, in this case 200,000, and I'm in the 79th percentile. I have these little carrots here on the right to indicate that I'm outside of that 75th percentile. For my maximum variable cash compensation, you can see that my $20,000 response is in the 59th percentile, so I'm indicated with an arrow on this numeric line. For the questions that were multiple choice, either select one or select all, the comparisons are presented similar to the positions on the previous tab that we just looked at, with the percentage of answers associated with each response. So in this case, is this position retained by a contract? 50% said yes, 50% said no. All of the questions have a pop-up chart. I'll show you the pop-up chart for the numeric. So we show this as a line chart with the 25th percentile, 97,000 roughly, the median, 135,000, 75th percentile, and my response, 200,000 in the 79th percentile. Again, downloadable to PowerPoint and PDF. So you can view question comparisons for every single question in the entire survey. What we're looking at here is a comparison against all of the DMOs that participated. Where this gets a lot more interesting is if we run some filters and select subsets of data, and we do this using these filters that are on the top of the page. The filters that are available for you are region, total operating budget, number of full-time employees, organizational structure, and peer cluster filtering. We'll go over the peer cluster filtering last. To activate the filters, we simply click Change, and I'm going to show you a couple of different scenarios to show you the impact of the fixed salary for the CEO position and what happens when we run these filters. So right now I'm in the 79th percentile. If we look at the regions such as Northeast, I select Northeast, I click Apply, and I am now comparing myself to the 21 DMOs that are in the Northeast. And you can see that my response of 200,000, of course, didn't change. My percentile changed, went from 79th to 84th, and my 25th, median, and 75th data points also changed. So you can do something like select various regions. I want to also show you how to use our numeric filters. So number of full-time employees is a numeric filter. I click this add next to it to display this sliding range of numbers. You can slide these bars like I'm demonstrating here, or you can simply type some numbers into the box. What this does is allows you to pick any range you want. It's much more meaningful for your comparisons if you can put yourself in the middle of a range. Frequently, if they have predefined ranges, you find yourself on the very top end of a range or the bottom end of a range, and you try to figure out, well, what does this really mean for you? So the ability to self-select your range gives you much more valuable information. So we're going to start, and we'll look at DMOs that have between 5 and 10 employees. Again, I'm going to click Apply. And now when we look at the fixed salary for this CEO position, you can see I'm now way above the 75th percentile. I'm actually in the 100th percentile for DMOs of this size. And it gives you a lot more insight when you start to look and drill down into the data set to see, hey, how am I paying my people? Am I overpaying? Am I underpaying? Am I competitive? And obviously the fixed salary is just one piece of it. You need to look at the whole package. But now let's take a look at what happens if I say I want to look at DMOs that are a lot larger than 5 to 10. Say my DMO has between 50 and 100 employees. And now if I click Apply Now, we can see that I'm down in the 5th percentile, and I'm perhaps way underpaying my CEO, where the 25th percentile is at 234,000 and change, and my 75th percentile is 332,000 and change. What we've been looking at here is just a single filter and showing the impact of selecting subsets of data for your comparison purposes. You can also use multiple filters. So if we wanted to say, I want to look at number of full-time employees, 50 to 100, and that are private nonprofit organizational structure. So I can select that, click Apply, and I can see I've moved a little bit, and my 25th median 75th numbers have changed, but it allows you to decide what's important for you for comparing on a given data point. It could be that maybe it's just private nonprofit, in which case you can just compare on that, and you can see again how the data changes dramatically when you're selecting various subsets of data and subsets of DMOs based on these filter criteria. If at any point in time you have some filter settings that you like and want to be able to repeat, you can click Save as Favorite, save, and now when you come in again, you can choose to just activate that category filter and know that you're going to be selecting a filter that, or a combination of filters that you want to use and have them available for you every time you log in. What I also want to show you now is peer cluster filtering, and for that I'm going to not use any of these category of filters, and we're going to show you how peer clusters work. So what peer clusters do is allow you to, I'll just type in test here, I'm going to name my peer cluster. It allows you to select a named group of DMOs for comparison purposes. And even though you know who you're comparing yourself against, you will not be able to see the individual responses for that DMO. So once you name it, you say, okay, and here are the lists of DMOs that participated in this study. You can simply pick randomly, say I'm just going through the A's and clicking add. You can search, maybe you want to search on the word visit. I don't know, here's a whole bunch of DMOs that have the word visit in their name. You can search for a state. I see Ohio there. I want to select the DMOs that are in my state. You can create these peer clusters any way that's meaningful for you. For the purposes of today's demonstration, I created 2 peer clusters for us to look at. One is large DMOs, and once you have a peer cluster created and saved, you can also edit it. So I can show you who is in my large DMO cluster. I picked this pretty randomly. If I wanted to remove them or add additional, I can simply do that here. And I can take a look at that large DMO group. So now, when, again, we'll look at our fixed salary for our CEO, I can see that for large DMOs that are in the peer cluster that I created, I'm in the 32nd percentile, and again, my 25th median and 75th data points have changed. I created another peer cluster just to kind of show you another view, and that is I selected all the DMOs that are in California. So I'm going to click Apply for that one. And I created that peer cluster in the exact same way that I showed you how to create. And now I can see, again, that I'm in, my data is changing all the time. I'm now in the 73rd percentile. So you can use peer clusters or any of these criteria filters to select subsets of data for you to compare the compensation, the benefits, the criteria for your compensation, all kinds of different information on how your compensation programs work. So I'll now shift from question to question comparisons to our pre-formatted reports. So for that, I'm going to click the home. I can click the home and move into another section. I can go back to the main page where I can click Personalized Reports here or up in the main menu bar. So you can see that any filters that I had active remain active as I move through my Compare by Question or to my Personalized Reports area. I could also change them here. If I want to clear them all, I can clear them just by clicking one button. On this reports page, we have 4 options in the compensation section. We have 1 Excel report and 3 PowerPoint charts. The Excel report is a complete report on every position and every data point, compensation data point for every position. The PowerPoint slide decks are broken out into categories of questions. So this PowerPoint slide deck just covers the CEO contracts and performance. This is the compensation policies, and this is on insurance benefits. I'll start with the compensation report. You'll notice when you click on it that it downloads to your download tray, and so you can save it directly to your computer. Click it and it will open right up. It'll fire up Excel. The first page when you open this report is a little overview about the report, how to read it. It will also tell you the date you created the report and if you selected any filters. There are multiple tabs in this report. Each tab represents a section of positions or questions. So compensation overview contains the overview questions that were about compensation policies. We'll continue with our executive position review today, so I'm going to select executive positions. Each one of these tabs contains the same general information where we have the questions in column A, your responses in your percentile in column B, column C, D, and E are your comparison data, and F is the number of responses. So the first thing that we are going to look at is the number of organizations that are included in the data set, 238. This will be changed based on whether you ran any filters or not. And then we'll look at, this is the positions that are available for this category. We saw this earlier on that compare page, the CEO, the Chief Operating Officer, the Financial Officer. You can see which positions you selected with this checkbox. And then you can see the percentages of DMOs who also selected those options. Each of the positions is highlighted in blue. So we see executive salary details for the CEO, for the COO, as you scroll down the page, for the CFO. And underneath each category are the questions for that category, for that position. So fixed salary, which is what we've been looking at, my response is $200,000. I'm in the 79th percentile. Here are the responses, the comparison data for the 25th percentile, the median, and the 75th percentile, and a number of responses for each question. Gives you a nice snapshot overview of your entire salary picture with the fixed salary, the maximum variable cash compensation, the total budgeted amount for that position, as well as how much you actually paid. Continue on to multiple choice questions, retained by contract, we saw that it was 50%, kind of equal split, and I do have that position retained by a contract. There's my checkbox. And it continues on with the criteria for variable compensation incentives and the payout, how you do the payout for your variable cash compensation incentive. So this report represents just an entire output of all of the position data broken out by category. Each one of these will give you the same kind of information. I'm just going to minimize this and show you one of our PowerPoint slide decks. So similarly, if I click on a PowerPoint slide deck, in this case, CEO contracts and performance report, it downloads, open it. Oh, opened on my other screen. I'll drag it over in a second. The first slide, similar to the Excel report, gives you the day that you created the report, the fiscal year. You can see I'm a test user and a test account. By the way, I didn't mention that earlier in this webinar, that while we are comparing ourselves today against real data, we are looking at a fictitious set of data for demonstration purposes. And if you had run any filters. There are, then similar to the Excel report, a little overview on how to read the charts in this report. And here are some sample charts. So this is how your CEO is retained. Blue always equals your organization response. So these were the answer options for how your CEO is retained: formal contract, no contract, letter of agreement, verbal arrangement only, retained by resolution of the board, and other. Each one also has the percentage of answers associated with each option, and again, your answer. So I'm a letter of agreement along with 20% of the other DMOs. So we have a variety of chart styles. This is the duration of the CEO contract, which is kind of a choppy line to show you that how the data really is entered. I'm a 5-year. I have a 5-year contract with my CEO, along with 75% of the other DMOs. The median value is 3. 25th percentile is 2. So again, the 25th percentile means that 25% of the responses are less than 2. For the 75th percentile, 25% of the responses are larger than 5. So as you can see, this becomes a really nice presentation piece. If you needed to bring some charts or some data to some sort of meeting, a board meeting, a compensation HR meeting, whatever, you have nice presentation ready slides on the, in this case, your CEO contracts and performance. And you can see there are quite a few different kinds of slide types in here with your responses, if you answered that question, highlighted in blue. As a reminder, from a navigation standpoint, clicking Home brings you to the main page where you can select any of the sections. You can also use this drop-down to navigate in between the sections. We have a support page if you have any questions regarding how to use the platform or how to contact DMAI. If you want a little bit of help on the filtering, we have a Compare Page Help, which pops up, which gives you a little overview of what I have shown you today. And I think that concludes our demonstration of comparison and reporting. We hope that you find this useful and look forward to hearing your feedback.